Today, we are joined by Sanjeev, a seasoned data expert with 30 years of experience, who has written several articles about data products and even a whole book that, also the dummies can understand. But maybe, Sanjeev, you can introduce yourself shortly.
Thank you so much, Francie. It is such a pleasure. Thank you for having me on your show. I love the work you are doing for data products. I am an independent advisor, analyst. I have been independent for about 2 years. Prior to that, I was in Gartner, where I was running the agenda for the data and analytics team. And all my career, you reminded me, it's over 30 years now, which makes me feel very old, but it is what it is. I've been in data my entire career, which is amazing. And when I started at Oracle in the 1990s, it was a very exciting time. And then things got plateaued. Then all the cloud, Hadoop, NoSQL, iPhone, mobile, social, everything just propelled it, made data more important. And now with AI, data is at the heart of everything we do. So I'm really blessed that I spent my entire career in such an exciting space.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your personal journey there a little bit. Funny enough, I'm also, my whole journey, my career is in data so far.
That's great.
Not 30 years yet, but let's see how it goes. But yeah, let's maybe start with the first question that I prepared for our little interview here. So imagine if you had to explain what a data product is to someone from the business side who's not quite familiar with the data world yet and who has never heard about it before, how would you describe it?
Wow, what a great question, and probably the hardest problem we have, because when we try to get into data products, we end up talking so much that people are still not clear what it is. So if I were to run into a business person, what I would tell the business person, let's say I'm riding in an elevator, I only
Yeah.
have less than a minute. So I would say data products makes your data understandable, accessible, built by people on the business side, not the IT side, that you can trust out of the box. No more second guessing if this is the right data.
I love this little elevator pitch. Great. And now that we talked a little bit about the business side, maybe let's talk about the data teams, which are unfortunately often perceived as cost centers as they struggle to show their value creation to other stakeholders. I heard you mentioned once that you think data products can help show the value creation of data teams and turn their image actually around into true value creators for the business. Now, I do wonder, when is a data product itself maybe valuable and or has a tangible impact?
So, Francie, number one rule of a data product, just like any physical product. So here is my iPhone. It has some value to me. Data product, by definition, must always have a assigned business value. So there's no, if it doesn't have, if it's a table, let's say, that's used for calculation, it's not a data product. So the value is inherent into the data product. Why I say it is easier to calculate value or ROI or something like that from a data product is because it's like a box of cereal that we buy. Uh, so I keep going back to that, and hopefully we might talk more about that. It's easy to measure the cost and and how much time I'm going to save in running a business process can now be easily mapped. It's very difficult to do it in, let's say, if I'm not building a product, I'm just doing a project. And the project is to build a data mart, a data warehouse, and some BI reports. It's like data products is like a microservice, is like a container that has some measurable value and cost associated.
Thank you for sharing this insight. Very interesting. So maybe let's go to another question that I prepared for you to tap your expertise. So organizations are actually investing lots of time and resources into data and AI initiatives. How can data products help demonstrate a return on investment? You mentioned it before a little bit, but let's dig deeper there.
Yeah, so I'll give you a great example. It's a real life example. Now, so I was talking to a pharma company, and this pharma company has decades of information sitting there, all over the place, structured. So what they're telling their team is that business is not calling it data product, by the way. Business wants their problem solved. What is the problem? One of the problems is the amount of time it takes to get an approval from a regulatory body, like we have FDA in the US, is very long. So they're like, can you help us reduce this time? And in this case, they're actually asking for LLM. I call it LLM data product. But the business may not call it that. Business may have no idea what am I even talking about. But the idea is that today, if you're a physical manufacturing company and you look at your entire supply chain or value chain, you have to build your bill of materials, then you have to go procure the materials, then you have to do testing, then you start building your physical product. If I have a data product for each and I tell people that, look, this is your data product called bill of material data product, it is guaranteed with some SLAs, which are documented. So you know the quality, you know who is the single point of contact for this. You don't have to spend your time trying to second guess. Is this data correct? Did my pipeline run last night? And waste all your time writing these SQL join commands. I'm giving you the data product built by the supply chain team that you can trust with, and making it understandable. So now if it took you, let's say, 3 days or 3 weeks, and I reduce it to 2 days or 2 weeks, whatever it is, I can now measure the impact.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of data product. It is a business artifact. It is not a technology project.
Yeah. That's a very great summary. I really like this. And to call it the beauty of data products, even music to my ears. Maybe your next book could be something like a dictionary for data teams and business teams to translate and help
my love letter to data products. Yeah.
That's really nice. But maybe let's talk about the situation that different people can maybe step into now that AI and data products are more and more upcoming and are really deeply looked at. Imagine you be coming into a company that has a lot of data, dashboards, the fanciest AI models, you name it, and they hired you to productize this data. What would be the steps you take?
Okay. So first thing, going back to my previous question and tying it to this, I don't want to oversell data products. I don't want to make it sound like data products are the answer to everything that's gone wrong in the data team. If I join a new team and I'm told to productize my data, the first question that I'm going to ask is what is the problem? Is there a problem? And if I find out that yes, there is unknowns, people just don't know where to find data, there are many versions of truth of that data, then great, I now have a business case. So the most important thing for me is to identify, is there a business case that will deliver value? The second thing that I have to do is I have to ask my management, are you sure you want to do data product? Do we have stakeholder agreement on that? And also, do we have the right culture? I ran into some people at an event from Intuit, and they were telling me Intuit, which is this big tax company here in the US, Intuit actually has mandated that all access to data has to be through data products. They have 900, and in the next few years, they are not going to have people, data engineers and data or business analysts going directly to data. There will be a layer of abstraction called data product with some accountability and all the SLAs, reusability and stuff like that. So those are the steps I would take as a newcomer into an organization. So business case with value determined, stakeholder agreement on board, and the right data culture in place. By data culture also mean the team. I'm allowed to create a team. Because by the way, one thing that I want to drive home is that in a project, you get on a project. I've been a consultant for many years. You get on a project, you do what you've been asked to do, then you roll off. The CFO says, "Oh my God, this thing is not working. Who should I talk to?" Well, I don't know. The team got rolled off and they are doing other things. A product team stays till the product is retired. So you see, so there's a life cycle. And so I need that data culture and agreement to make sure I have resources that will allow me to productize.
Thank you for sharing those steps and also bringing in a real world example. I think that makes it always very much better to imagine what's actually behind data products and their management and how to make them successful. So thank you for that.
Okay.
On to the next question I have for you.
Okay.
So what do you think are the 3 most critical points someone should pay attention to when creating a data product?
Great question. I think in some ways the 3 most important things, I think I've answered that in the previous question about the culture, the team, but I think there are some more very critical things. From what I've seen in my experience, one of the big problems, in addition to what I said, is understanding what are the domains. Because you see, there's something we haven't touched upon up till now. A data product is built by a business domain.
Yeah.
What is a business domain? Is customer a business domain that sits in marketing, but customer is in sales? Customer is in all other parts of the business. So who owns the customer master? So maybe customer is a shared domain, but bill of material is completely in supply chain. So no questions, So number 1 would be a business value and prioritizing. See, this is the other thing. The fallacy of data products is that it sounds so good that I'm new. I'm just going to build a data product, but I could be a victim of my own hubris. It's like everybody wants a data product. So how do I prioritize it and have a roadmap? So that's, I would say, business use case is number 1. Defining the domain now becomes more tactical rather than strategic, but still it is really important. And then number 3 would be, do I have the right tools? Is there like if you go back to data mesh principles, there's this whole idea of self-service data infrastructure. What is that? Because you have to remember that domains are taking responsibility for building this. Domain people are not software experts. They have never been taught SDLC, and they should not be. They have their own jobs cut out. So what is that infrastructure that the IT has provided that centralizes, by the way, some of the management and governance of data, so then I can decentralize the business logic in domains. So that's a third thing, that I must make sure that I have the right technology. So if I distill it down to what I just said, it comes down to the 3 things: people, process, and technology. All three should be in place before I start.
What a great summary. Thank you for sharing that. I really like that you mentioned also the take of the self-service aspect of data mesh, because I think that's something that might be overlooked sometime, but is super crucial coming now for data-driven companies.
Yes.
Amazing. So, Sanjeev, one more question for you. Considering companies might not have enough resources, what would be the one thing or two things you advise people to focus on when it comes to implementing data products?
Okay, perfect. I love this question because if somebody came to me and they said, we don't have resources, it's like, yeah, thank you so much for all your brilliant suggestions. We don't have people to do it. I would be like, why don't you have people? It's because everybody's busy. Everybody's like constantly working. They're overworked. I'm like, this is the very reason you need a data product. You've just proven my point that you have resources, but they're not well managed, or we are literally data engineering teams a lot of times are in firefighting mode. The CFO comes to work, opens up a dashboard to run their report, and says something is not right on this dashboard, and I'm missing something here. So now, who's to blame? We don't know because we don't know where the problem took place. So everybody starts churning and firefighting, which is such a bad utilization of my team. So I would say that data products will actually free up the resources to do more, like go research AI stuff and stop wasting time retesting, reworking, like let's be more structured.
Great, thank you for sharing this. And now we did talk about the benefits of data products quite extensively, but maybe you have any last advice or so for how would you convince stakeholders other than data professionals of the benefits of using data products?
So I think it's in some of my answers, like, better utilization of resources. We can measure, by the way, the productivity of data teams for the first time ever. Why do I say that? Is because if I create a data product and I make it discoverable by putting it in a catalog, I can now measure how many people have used it. And if it's not being used, then maybe I should retire it. What is the cost of that data product? Which teams are using it, so I can find out. Maybe there are 3 different data products for doing same thing, like customer. There's a marketing, there's a sales. I can see who are the people in my tribe who are using it, and so a faster onboarding of people. So all of these are things that we can do. But I do want to say that nothing comes for free. You have to train people in product management techniques. We data people are not trained in it. But we learned. We went from only strictly relational databases to all kinds of databases, and now we are into doing LLMs and AI. So, it's just a normal transition, but we do need to train people in product management.
Yeah, totally. And maybe considering we're almost at the end of our interview, one last question I have for you, which is, I think, really relevant because imagine data product managers, they have to talk to data people, they have to talk to business stakeholders, to all kinds of diverse personas. Where do you see hurdles in the communication between all of them? And also, do you have any advice how the communication can be improved?
Okay, so I told you beginning, I hope we'll talk more about cereal. So my example of cereal as a product, so this is a perfect place to do it. So I wrote this document called What Exactly is a Data Product on Medium, which you've read, and thank you for your support. In that, I gave an example of a very popular cereal, at least in the US. I'm not sure in Europe if Cinnamon Toast Crunch. is
Oh
very
yeah.
important. Okay, so Cinnamon Toast Crunch is so let's take that as an example. There's a producer and there's consumer. The producer in this case happens to be a company called General Mills, but it could be Kellogg, it could be any cereal manufacturer. How are they communicating to the consumers? It's through that box. The box has everything I need to know. What are the ingredients? When was it manufactured? Or more importantly, when will it expire? What is the nutritional value, which is not very high? I would not recommend too much.
Probably not.
So, but the point is that what's the best way to have it? Like cold, hot, milk, whatever it may be. So the point is that the data producer must define all the description of this product for the consumers to be able to see. And this is where I also have a document I wrote called Data Products Catalog, because that's where it resides. And that, by the way, that description, we sometimes call it a data contract.
Mm-hmm.
Because it has a SLAs, it says that this data will be refreshed every night. Now I know that my data could be 1 day old, or maybe it's real time. Now I know it, but there's no guessing. It has a quality levels defined. So that data contract could be a page in a catalog where I go to discover my data products, or it could be a YAML or a JSON file that I can send to the downstream systems. So that data contract becomes a communication medium. Why I'm emphasizing so much on this topic is because guess what? General Mills does not know who I am. Maybe they don't know you, or maybe you know the CEO, but they don't know who the consumer is. So in a data product, I may have created a data product and shared it in a marketplace, but I don't really know, like some new person in a different team may say, I want to take this data product and derive my own data product. So the contract becomes a medium of communication.
Okay, very interesting. Take data contracts as a mediator or help for communication.
Right.
Great. Well, Sanjeev, I think we're almost running out of time, unfortunately. I could talk to you way longer, but thank you again, Sanjeev, for taking part.
Thank you for everything you're doing for the community. Happy to be
My
here.
pleasure. Thank you so much, Sanjeev.
Bye.